Okay, it's a little after 12:45. Let's go ahead and get started. So, in my ongoing efforts to drill names, it's Selena, right? And Caitlin?
No.
Damn it!
I'm kidding. Yes, it is.
Yep, I thought so. Katie.
Yeah.
Samantha. Jacqueline. And starts with an M. Jessica Menezes. Last name starts with an M. Okay. Nalita. Amanda. Marissa. And then Kitty. Alexis. Fuji. Dahi's right there. And Tung's not here. Tung's not here yet. And then over here, so I've got Maria and Nancy, but I'm missing Rachel, right? And then Jeffrey, Yanira, Andrea. You guys are all here. Zach, Haley, Nathan, and Hyder and Jacqueline. Not here yet? Okay. Okay, Daniel, I don't see. Anthony, Vanessa, and Mariah. Okay. And then, so all of Group I is here. Marlise, Myra, Jeanette, Nancy, Mark. Richard, damn it. I want to put Mark with Whittington somehow. Sorry. And then John is not here, but Macy and Natasha are. And EO and Liliana, but the rest of your group is not here. Okay. And Maddie and Maria are here. Esperanza and Anna are not.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so that's that. And we've got a fair amount of stuff to cover today, so let me see how quickly I can go through it. First of all, as sort of general announcements, there were some problems like uploading to to Google Drive. Some of you had no problem, others of you did. So I think I've been able to respond to everybody's email that they sent me or text at this point. If I haven't, don't worry. Like, I'm still working my way through like what's there, and if for some reason I didn't get it, I'll let you know. You're not going to like be counted as late. So sorry for the problems. It's a sort of ongoing work in progress, trying to perfect the most economical way to get things done, so that I don't like. It's amazing if you guys email me stuff, like just the. Especially because my Outlook email through the CSUB system, every time I click send, there's like a 10-second delay before it actually sends. So I'm sitting there frozen for 10 seconds every time I respond and tell you guys, yes, I got it. And then like go in, save it, and it adds up. So I'm trying to make things all go so you just submit it somewhere. Sorry for the problems. I'll keep working on it. But don't worry if I haven't responded. I'll let you know if I don't have your professional development plan sometime later today, tomorrow, as soon as I'm able to like check on all of them. And if I don't have it, you can just send it to me. It'll be okay. So that's that. Any questions about those problems? I looked at the Globus results. I imagine like that's kind of front of mind for you guys because you're all putting your decisions and now you see the results, and some of the teams did well, some of them didn't do so well. I'm going to like postpone that discussion until Wednesday. The entire day on Wednesday is just going to be about Globus. So today I'm going to go over. The details of how I want you to fill out the management analysis tools for the draft case analysis that's due this coming weekend. And then all day Wednesday, we'll talk about Globus. Make a note to yourselves right now. At 11:59 in the evening on Wednesday, all of the decisions will reset back to like everything will be zeroed out. So if you want to go in and print out what your group put in so you can remember, like, oh, okay, that seemed to work. Don't do that again. Make sure you print out your decisions before the end of the day on Wednesday. And if you're going to put in new decisions, make sure you don't do it until after the end of the day on Wednesday, because the computer will also delete any new decisions that you put in before the end of the day on Wednesday. Make sense? Yes? Okay. So that's that. It looks like everybody was, I think I have 44 out of 45 of you registered in Globus right now, and everybody took the individual quiz. It looks like that was no problem, although it seems like one person is missing from Globus, and I don't know who. I may have just counted wrong, but it looks like everything was okay there. Did anybody have a problem with Globus getting in, registering? Okay, I may have just counted wrong. It looks like that was all okay. So that's that. That's kind of it for the announcements right now. And I'm going to dive in and talk about the lecture for today. Okay? So for the first time today, I have some value-added videos to include in our lecture. So, got a couple different videos to bounce over to at appropriate times in the lecture. Like I described on Wednesday when I was going through what the final product of the case analysis looks like, I'll just go through the details today of the 3 tools that I want you to do the draft of this weekend. So, business model, managerial execution, and corporate responsibility measures. So, the lecture is here. I've got a relatively lengthy video on corporate responsibility measures here, which I'm going to save for the end of the class. If we have time, I'll just let it run. It's a TED Talk. It's about 20 minutes long. It's an interesting view on like socially responsible businesses. If we run out of time, the link is right here for any of you who want to watch the rest of it. And you can always find the lecture agendas here under information. So if we're not able to get to all of the video today, the link to that TED Talk is right here under the lecture. So moving right along. The lecture materials for today are both under management analysis. So the main part of the lecture is this management tools PowerPoint, and then I have a special slide here on special slide with links to the various databases that you need to use to do the searches that I talked about a little bit last week. So I'll go through that at the end of the lecture. So starting out with management tools. So, like I talked about in big picture terms last week, the business model is kind of a 30,000-foot view of your company. And at least in my own experience in the two businesses I've run and being inside larger businesses, like the entire time I was in the music business, it's a good like sort of top level way of asking yourself. It's like a reality check. You're like, do I understand basically how my business ticks? Like if you can't clearly articulate who's the customer and what value do they get out of what you do, what are your major revenue flows, variable costs, and fixed costs, and what are the like key resources you need to make that happen? If you can't kind of say that off the top of your head, then you may be losing sight of what your business is all about. Like you can get, it's easy to get lost in the details of how are we doing compensation, or am I doing the right things as a leader, or are we positioned correctly competitively against our competition, which are all important. But like if you lose sight of the basic fact that like I'm going to go with an example in the music business in a second. So if you lose sight of the fact that our customer is X and they buy our product because they get Y out of it, and then our money basically comes in, in a big chunk at the end of each month. We basically have to pay a bunch of stuff for recording costs, and we have to pay a bunch of stuff for marketing, and so recording costs and advances to the artists, and then on the fixed costs, we have a bunch of marketing costs, and we have a bunch of like sort of distribution network maintenance costs and some IT costs. And in order to be good at that, the resources we need are really efficient manufacturing facilities. We need really cutting edge recording facilities. We need top quality artists. We need really good marketing people, and we need really like efficient cutting edge IT systems. Like if I lose sight of any of that, then I've kind of lost sight of what the music business is all about. So the three main points, like I said, value proposition is what value does the business deliver from the customer's point of view. So this is really important to me, and when you fill out your cases, I don't want more than a sentence or two about who's the customer and what do they get out of using your product. And then profit model, like I said, what are the major revenue streams, what are the major costs, and costs should be broken out into variable and fixed. And then resources needed, what do I need to have in order to be really efficient and good at the costs that are listed here. That's it in a nutshell. As you remember from the template, this is sort of a smaller version that fits in the PowerPoint slide of what I want you to fill out. And I want to go through a bit of an example from the music business. So if I get out of that for a second and open up the case analysis template. And put it like this. So I'm going to do an example of like old music business, new music business. And for those of you who have been in my entrepreneurship class or my small business management class, you've seen some of these examples before. I don't think it's something I've shown everyone before. So like the business model is sort of static at any one point in time, but when there's a lot of change in your industry, when there's a lot of technological change or there's changes in customer demographics, the business model may shift over time, and that's exactly what's happened in the music business in the last 20 years. And anybody that was working under the old model is hopelessly out of date at this point. And I was in the music business exactly when we're going from the old model to the new model. It was really quite tumultuous. So in the old model of the music business, like basically, consumers pay $20-ish for a CD that has cool music. I mean, that's basically how things used to work. You come up with cool artists, you come up with cool music, people find out about it from various marketing channels, they go to a store and they buy it. That's how it worked for the better part of like 80 years in the 20th century. So in the profit model, revenues would basically be advance from record store for bulk shipment, refunded monthly if sales did not meet order. So the way, basically, the record store used to like order a bunch of CDs up front. We'd ship them. We'd get a down payment. I should say refunded or paid additionally monthly if sales did not meet order. So basically, the way it used to work in the music business, like we would make a CD, we'd ship a bunch of them to record stores. They would give us a down payment. So let's say like an individual record store got like 50 copies of a certain CD. They'd probably pay us for 20. And if they only sold 10, 3 months later, like they'd give us the other 10, they'd give us the other like 40 back, and we'd credit them for 10 because they already gave us a $10, they gave us a down payment for 20. And if they ended up selling a lot, then after let's say after 2 months they had sold 40, so they would pay us another 20, and then over the next 2 months they ended up selling the last 10, so they would send us another payment for the next 10 CDs. So that's how the revenues used to work in the music business. The costs, so variable costs, and to make this look pretty, it's kind of useful if you put an underline there so I can see more easily where one part stops and the next part starts. Variable costs were basically artist advance, recording costs, manufacturing costs, and then fixed costs were basically marketing and IT systems. We'll say admin support as well. I mean, those So basically, this is how the money came in. In order to make a CD to start with, we would go out and find like cool artists. We would sign contracts with them, and basically in the contract, we would give the artist like $5,000 advance, or 10 grand, or 100 grand. It depends on how big of an artist they were and how much we expected to sell. But for easy numbers, let's say we gave the artist like $5,000 in advance. We gave them like, and we spent about 10 grand on recording costs, and we spent about 50, basically $5 per CD. So I'm going to do a calculation based on selling. Yes, Marissa? Yeah.
Can you zoom in on the screen?
What's that?
Can you zoom in on the screen?
Yes. How's that?
Yeah, better.
Thank you for reminding me. So I'm going to base this on selling, what did I say? 10,000. Yeah, I'm going to base this on selling 10,000 CDs, the example I'm talking about. So in that case, 10,000 CDs times $5 per CD. Per CD is about 50,000 in costs, and like every time we have like a chunk of 100,000 CDs from a certain artist, like we have those costs. If we don't have a chunk of CDs, we don't have those costs. No matter how many CDs we make, we always have a relatively like fixed, like we're gonna pay the marketing cost regardless of how many CDs we make. Like if we're lucky, we sell more. If we're unlucky, we sell less. But the marketing doesn't change that much. So let's say we spent about $20,000 on marketing, and that's no matter what, like whether we sell one CD or 10,000. And we probably spent like if you split it out across all the artists, let's say that we spent $5,000 here and $5,000 here. So let me change all that from red to black. And then the biggest, most important, basically the resources needed here, I just want you to phrase the biggest and most important costs in terms of resources rather than costs. So in order to be good at these variable and fixed costs, I basically need top quality artists. You know, if the artists that I hire suck, I'm not going to sell very many CDs. I need great recording facilities. If I don't have good recording facilities, like the recording's going to suck, so need that. I got a whole bunch of like manufacturing costs here, so if I don't have like efficient manufacturing facilities, I'm gonna like have cost overruns on all this manufacturing. I need talented marketing staff, and I need let's call it dependable. I mean, these aren't very big costs, but if they break down, then like it's going to cause me major problems. So I don't really need like the biggest, best IT systems and admin support in the world, but I need dependable IT systems and admin support staff. And that's basically what I would write for resources needed. Done. And actually, if I were just doing the old music business compared to the old music business, I'd basically copy and paste this column. So if this were old music business Sony versus old music business Warner, that's it. I'm done. Make sure that everything's red. Make it look pretty. Or make sure it's not red. Like once you've put in all of your words, change from red, which was my like highlight to you as to what you should write in each box. Change it to black so I can see that it's your work. Delete that part at the bottom, and you're done. Okay. Just to give an example here in the lecture of like how important business model can be, I'm going to dive into the videos here for a second and go from like instead of comparing the old music business to the old music business, I'm going to do new music business. And to make things compare apples to apples, I'm going to compare the same record label with the old business model and the new business model. So let me like zero these out. So basically, a huge thing that happened in the music business, like two things happened at the same time in the like late 1990s and the 2000s. First of all, file sharing and MP3 technology got so good that it's super simple and super fast to download really good quality music, like ubiquitously for free. It's technologically, it's almost impossible to maintain. The only reason that we used to charge people for CDs is because there wasn't any other way to deliver the music. Like back before MP3s and the internet, like you need some kind of device to transfer the music from the original recording to people out there around the world that can listen to it. But with the change in technology, you don't need the damn CD anymore. Like there's no need for a record store at all. There's no need for anything physical. I mean, most of us don't need anything physical whatsoever, except perhaps like the headphones that like will play via Bluetooth. I mean, you don't even have to have a connection. All you need are headphones that can deliver this music to your ears, and everything else is digital on here. There's nothing physical whatsoever. So that's a big difference than the way things were before. The other thing that changed is that the leisure entertainment landscape is a hell of a lot different than it was like even 20 years ago. Like 20 years ago, honestly, like I hear a lot of my colleagues both in and outside the music business complain like, man, there's just not good music these days anymore like the Beatles, you know? Or like the Stones. I mean, the Beatles and the Stones were uber big when they first came out. But the reason is because there's nobody else on the radio. I mean, instead of having like, 10 or 20 really big famous acts, there's like 10,000 now. And not only that, but there's all kinds of like gaming options. There's like more dynamic live events. There's like 10,000 channels on DirecTV now. There's like fantasy football leagues. There's so many more entertainment options than there were 20 years ago that it's just not that appealing anymore. If you have like $200 of leisure money to spend each month, like you could spend it on your DirecTV subscription, which also comes with a whole bunch of like music channels, and you can like basically have Pandora for free. So maybe you don't have exactly the music that you wanted at the exact moment that you wanted it because it's not actually like downloaded per track, but Pandora comes pretty close, and you got a lot of music in the channels in DirecTV as well. So maybe you just spend the money on DirecTV and you don't bother to buy any music like per track because it's just not that important to you compared to what else you could spend your money on. And so basically, consumers, A, don't have to pay for a CD anymore, and B, they don't really feel like paying for music anyway. I mean, it sort of comes as part of the deal with other entertainment that you pay for. So when I was working with Schema Records back in the mid 2000s, it's a record label out of Italy. They do like kind of electronic and lounge music, and we were sort of questioning assumptions about the business model. And the first question is what is the value proposition? Well, it used to be that consumers pay a certain amount of money for a CD and then they get to listen to cool music. Well, nobody wants to pay for the CD anymore, and nobody wants to pay for music by itself. So we asked ourselves, is that really the value proposition anymore? And we kind of turned things on their head and said that the new value proposition is that advertisers pay licensing fees for music in their advertisements. So basically, music, we've gone from selling to consumers to selling to businesses. At this point, we don't really care if consumers take the music for free or not. Who is willing to pay for stuff is a big advertiser for clothing or cars or whatever. The music that you put in the background of an advertisement contributes a whole lot to the brand image and the emotion that you develop with customers about the product. So it's very subtle, but the message gets across and has huge implications for millions and billions of dollars worth of sales rather than 100,000 like was the case in selling individual CDs. So the impact that the music makes in making the product more appealing for customers is way more valuable than it ever was to sell the music straight to consumers. So our new value proposition is advertisers paying licensing fees for music in their advertisements. And let me go through and actually copy and paste and edit. So some of the costs are the same. Basically, revenues are no longer the same whatsoever. So instead of an advance for record shipments and then each month we sort of reconcile the account with either sending money, getting CDs back and giving a refund, or getting more money from the record stores, there are no more record stores, there's no more CDs. So the revenues instead are a one-time upfront licensing fee from advertisers. The variable costs, basically, we're paying the artists about the same. One of the nice things about the increase in MP3 technology is, in parallel with that, the technology required to record really high quality music is less as well. So our recording costs are more like $5,000 instead of $10,000. Manufacturing costs are Zippo because we don't have to manufacture a CD anymore. Marketing is, I'm going to leave that about the same, but we're actually going to call it sales instead. Because in the new model, rather than doing a bunch of marketing with music videos and flyers and posters and PR firms that talk to magazines and get articles written about the artists and stuff, instead of all that, basically Schema Records hired me to go out and talk to advertising agencies and the product companies that are behind them and pitch, wouldn't you rather have this song in your ad rather than any of these other songs? Look at all the stuff that Schema's song can do for you. So I would do that, and I would get paid a commission if I was successful. So the commission was about 20%. I'm gonna like base this whole model on one time upfront. This this changes depending on how big the advertisement is, but for the purposes of the example I'm going to show you guys, it's 100,000. So we paid $5,000 to the artist. We paid 5,000 in recording costs. There's 20,000 in sales expenses because that's 20% commission on the 100,000. And actually, we need a little bit more robust IT systems because it helps to access like every different possible track better. Basically, we need a giant database of every possible song with every possible instrumentation, vocals, everything, so that we can pick the exact right song at the right time. So IT systems, we need to invest a little more. Admin support's about the same. Sales is like, the cost is the same, but it's a different kind of marketing. It's direct selling instead of consumer marketing. And then the revenues are different. So resources needed. We still need top quality artists. We still need great recording facilities. We no longer care whatsoever about manufacturing facilities. We do need talented sales staff instead of marketing staff. And we need top quality IT systems, not just dependable, because they're actually much more important to how we deliver the product. And we still need dependable admin support staff. So that's actually, if anyone in here were doing your case analysis comparing the old model of the music business to the new model of the music business in Schema Records, which you're probably not going to do, but you could end up comparing. I mean, some of you are thinking about comparing basically corporate finance with being in a CPA firm. Those are two different business models, so you'll compare the two of them side by side like that. It might look kind of similar, but to show just how big of a difference the business model can make and how important this tool is for your business, like if a lot of people in the music business, when I was working in the business, like refused to see this column changing. They could not imagine that like these details change because they were the same way for like 80 plus years. But we used to have, like when I worked for Sony, you know, we had like 5 or 6 floors in this beautiful building in like the center of Berlin. It's now like half a floor. Like if you don't change and adjust to the new reality, it has massive impact on your business. So the moral of the story here, this is how you fill it out. But more importantly than how you fill it out, I wanted you guys to get an idea of why it's important. And if you're not able to continue to answer these questions for yourself about your business, you're in danger of losing touch with the big picture of what does your business do and what's the best way to run it. So that being said, let me show you some like colorful videos that illustrate this concept, and then we'll go on to the next 2 tools. So first of all, without the videos, I'm going to go to I can't remember the name of the website. So it's Schema Records, but I can't remember the address. So yeah, Ishtar is actually the name of their publishing company, and they make it like in the background. There's 2 different kinds of music rights. There's the recording rights for the actual song, and there's the publishing rights for the idea of the song. And you actually get paid a lot more for the idea of the song in the new model than you do for the actual recording. So for a long time now, even though it's called Schema Records, Edizioni Ishtar is the name of their publishing company, and they identify more with their publishing side. So if I go in here and type in Jet Sounds, which is the name of the album that is the example in question here, this is the album we're talking about. It actually ended up selling 40,000 copies, which for an independent record label, without like major label affiliation, is a huge number of CDs to sell in 2000 when the music market is going down. So if I just pull up a couple of examples here, talking about, you know what? That won't work because I'm recording. I'm recording with this thing here. So how do I get it to actually play the sounds? Did somebody have a suggestion? I probably could. It kind of like spoils my